Construction on a new saltwater barrier begins in the Mississippi River to help keep freshwater supplies safe for drinking. Plaquemines Parish officials recently began trucking fresh water to Boothville due to a saltwater wedge moving up the river due to low levels. And the height of the barrier will allow the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to monitor progression of the saltwater wedge to determine if they need to build it higher. And last October, the Corps spent $10 million to build an underwater saltwater sill to stop the Gulf water wedge. That sill washed away as designed when the river levels rose to normal in December.